students, Sai Ram to you all. I welcome you all this morning to this session. This is the last topic for this chapter, Theory of Firm under Perfect Competition. Today we are going to cover these two topics, that is market supply curve and price elasticity of supply. We have already discussed the supply curve of a firm's or firm supply under perfect market competitive structure. Here, now, under same perfect market competitive environment or under the same perfect market competitive structure, we are going to discuss about the market supply curve. Therefore, what is market supply curve? That is the summation of all the firm supply curves collectively derived by horizontal summation is called as market supply curve. Market supply curve is nothing but it is a diagrammatic representation, or we can say graphical representation of a market schedule. You know market schedule, what is it? Market schedule, we can say a table representing quantity and the relative prices of commodities. Quantity supply, one column, and the prices of the commodities relevant to the amount of supply is also called as market schedule. Therefore, the market supply curve, in the sense, it is a diagrammatic representation of the market schedule, or that table represents the data which are prices of a particular commodity and the corresponding quantity supplied for each prices at a particular period of time. Therefore, it's a graphical representation of the market schedule, supply schedule. Also, it represents the market supply curve, represents the whole market as a whole. That means, for a particular commodity, it comprises, we have seen, under perfect market competitive structure, there are large number of firms. That is the peculiar feature for a perfect competitive market. Therefore, it comprises thousands of firms. All the firms at a particular time for a particular commodity. When we say market supply, we aggregate all the supplies of all the firm of particular commodity at a particular period of time at a particular price. Then we will derive this market supply curve. Therefore, the market supply curve is the curve of the market as a whole. And how do we derive? We derive as a horizontal summation of each and every firm supply in the market. That we will go into detail in the coming slides. And therefore, market supply curve, how do we represent that curve? We will see that curve later. That on the x-axis we plot output level, that is quantity supplied of a particular commodity, and the y-axis the prices of that particular level of output or particular level of supply. Therefore, it shows output level plotted on x-axis and the firms market produce. Because when we say market, there will be 100 firms, 1000 firms, all the firms supply of a particular commodity at that particular period of time is aggregated. Aggregate means collection of supply of all the firms, the particular commodity. The commodity supply of all the firms for a particular good is aggregated. Aggregated means lumped together, added together and considered as market supply. I hope you understood. And then derivation of market supply curve, or geometrically means diagrammatically, we are going to derive market supply curve, and you will see into the very detailed manner. I will explain in the diagram later. Now you consider that I am going to take an example. As we said already, perfect market competition consists of thousands of firms. Here, for an example, we will say there are n number of firms. N may be 1000 or 1500 or 100 also. Therefore, n number of firms are there. That means firm 1, firm 2, firm 3 and so on up to n number of firms. And also the market price, we have already discussed the perfect competitive market, under perfect competitive market structure, firm is a price taker. Price taker means a single firm is not in a position to influence the market price. Whatever the prevailing market price, the single firm will take it as it is without any influences or changes in that. Therefore, it is firms under perfect competitive market structure is called as price takers. That is the very important feature under perfect competitive market. Therefore, for prices for a particular commodity at a particular period of time will be fixed as at P price. Just for an example, we are considering n number of firms, the prices are fixed at P. Then how do we get the output supply produced by all the firms? It is called as market supply. How do we derive it? Output produced by the n firms, aggregate. Aggregate means all n number of some firms are added together to get the market supply curve for that particular commodity. That is supply of firm 1 at price P plus supply of firm 2 at price P, same price, no price takers, no same price, and supply of firm 3 at price price P, and supply of firm 4 at price P, all P, price P, price are fixed price takers plus supply of firm N at price P. Therefore, what are you doing? You are adding, aggregating together. Aggregate means adding each firm supply at the particular price together to get a market supply curve at that particular price P. This is what meant by aggregate. And then market supply, we can just give an equational form. Market supply at a particular price is equal to summation of supplies of each firms at that particular price. For example, say market supply at price P is equal to summation of supplies of all the firms at the particular price P. Therefore, we assume that just two firms in the market. Now, what I am going to do, I have explained with an n number of firms. What we are going to do now, we are going to derive a supply curve geometrically or diagrammatically. You know, in the diagrammatically we have x-axis and y-axis. To explain the concept of this market derivation of market supply curve, for an easy explanation, we are going to consider only two firms are in the market. Actually, not two firms in the real world. There will be number of firms. But for the diagrammatic representation of this concept of derivation of market supply curve, we are going to take only two firms. You should understand why we are taking, because in the graph we can't explain thousands of firms at a time. There are only two firms. Therefore, two firm 1 and firm 2 we are taking. The two firms have different cost structure. You know that. Firm to firm cost structure vary. Why it vary? Depend on the adoption of technology or the level of inputs used. We have studied what are the factors affect the prices or the cost, etc. Therefore, the cost structure for the firm 1 is different, cost structure for firm 2 is different. For example, firm 2 might use a very efficient technology, thereby can keep the cost at minimum. But firm 1 maybe it's not a better technology compared to firm 2. Therefore, the cost may be little bit high. And also inputs, place to place, where the firms are located, place to place, they may use more labor inputs compared to other firm. Therefore, cost will be vary. When cost vary, the inputs prices vary. When the technology vary, cost structure, that is cost amount of cost varies between firm. Therefore, that is an assumption, okay, different cost structure. That is a real situation also. Firm will produce anything. Now we are going to say firm 1 will produce anything if the price level, price is less than P1. That is P1 price. We are just giving an example here, P1. If the price level is P1, less than P1, firm 1 is not going to produce any output. And if the price level is less than P2, firm 2 is not going to produce anything. And also assume that P2 greater than P1. I think this concept we have already seen in our shutdown point. Shutdown point, P should be equal to ABC at shutdown point. If price goes down below this point, we have seen here, this is price line, this is ABC, this is the minimum ABC. Therefore, at this price, this is the output, this is shutdown point. Shutdown point. Below, if the price goes below, we have studied zero output. We have shown by a thick line, zero product, zero supply. Zero supply. Why? Price has gone down, price the below ABC. That is what it is mentioned here. If it is below P1, firm 1 is not going to produce anything. That means at the P1 level, at the price P1, AVC of the firm is equal. If below P1, that firm will not produce. Same way, if it is P2 price level, that is firm 2 says P2, below P2, firm is not going to produce. What is the reason? The AVC of the firm 2 is at P2 level. Minimum AVC, that is shutdown point for firm 2, shutdown point. If it is below shutdown point, what is happening? Firm 2 is not producing. But we mention it as zero supply or zero product. Zero product, or we can say zero supply. Why? Price is below. This is the meaning of this two statement. Yeah, now we are going to explain that all the statement. I am going to put it in the diagram today. Now, we say figure A, supply curve of firm 1. Here you can see supply curve of firm 1 is denoted by supply curve S1. Here you can see P1, P2, P3 prices. Here we are taking firm 1. Firm 1 is not going to produce any output below P1. Therefore, what is mentioned here? Zero output. Whatever we have discussed in the last class, we are expanding. Therefore, it is zero output. But above P1, firm 1 will produce. Therefore, it's a positive supply output. The product at P3, what is the output firm 1 is producing? Q3 level of output firm 1 producing. I hope you understood, clear? That means below P1, product is not producing. That means you see P1 is equal to average variable cost. Therefore, below P1, no production of that particular quantity. And above P1, firm 1 is producing. Therefore, we are getting supply curve, this one and this one together, S1, and at the P3 level, Q3. And now we will go to supply curve of firm 1 continued. Here market price is strictly below P1. When the market price is strictly below P1, firm 1 choose not to produce any amount of the good. Hence, firm supply will also be zero below price level P1. We have seen zero of the shutdown point, we have studied zero product. Even the derivation of supply curve, long run, short run, we have studied about zero product. Therefore, all linked together, all the topics. But above the price level P1, there is a positive supply curve for the P1. And we are going to supply curve of firm 2. Firm 2, what is the condition? The supply curve of firm 2 is denoted by S2, capital S2. You can see here, we have already mentioned that below P2 level, firm 2 will not produce any amount of output. Because we know the P2 must be the shutdown point. P2 is equal to AVC. Below P2, the zero product. You can see thickened bold line here. Thickened bold line. This bold line represents you below P2, firm 2 is not producing any output. But above P2 price level, there you see a positive level of output. There is a positive supply curve. Here, by positive, above zero level, what we say? It's a positive level of supply curve. I hope you understood. And then, if you take a P3 level, that is the positive level of a range of price there, P3. At P3, what is output produced by firm 2? Q4 level of output. Now, we have studied individually firm 1 and firm 2 at the price level P1 and P2 respectively. Now, what we are going to do? We are going to join both the firms together, combining together. We are going to derive market supply curve. The supply curve of firm 2, as we have already seen the diagram, when the market price is strictly below P2, firm 2 is not going to produce. Therefore, it is obvious to you, as we have already discussed, P2 is equal to what? Average variable cost. At price 2, what is happening in firm 2? Shutdown point. Firm 2 is in shutdown point, reaches the shutdown point at that price level. Therefore, below P2, firm 2 is not ready to produce any output of that particular commodity. Therefore, it closes the business if price goes below P2. Therefore, what the firm 2 chooses not to produce any amount of good. Hence, supply also be zero below P2. That's what it is explained. Supply is zero. Supply is zero here at this thick point below P2. Supply is zero. And above P2, there's a positive supply. And now, market supply curve, how to derive? We have seen firm supply curve, firm 1 supply curve, that is denoted by S1. Firm 2 supply curve is denoted by S2, we have seen. Now, combining both the firms, by adding the supply curve horizontally for the respective same price, we are going to derive figure C. Figure C is nothing but market supply curve. That is what we have indicated SM. SM means supply of the market. S2 means firm 2 supply. S1 means firm 1 supply. We have already discussed firm 1 is not going to produce anything below P1. That is what this thick portion is indicating. Below P1 it's not going to produce anything. But you can say for S2 also below P1 the supply is 0. Supply is 0. This thick point, thick one. This P2 also, that is we will see why P2 below P2 also firm 1 will not produce. Here the P1, here also is P2, the firm 2 also will not produce, because firm 2 if at all going to produce below P2 it won't produce. And also P2 is greater than P1. Therefore obviously for P1 the firm 2 product will be 0, because firm 2 product will produce above P2 level. And from this diagram you can see P2 is above P1 price level. Therefore, for the firm 1 below P1, 0 product. Above P1 it is producing. And firm 2, therefore, if you add firm 1 and firm 2 at the price P1 level, horizontally, you extend that price level horizontally up to the market firm. Firm C is a market supply curve. Here it will be P1. What is happening? At price level P1, market supply also coincides with the firm 1 supply curve. What is firm 1 supply curve? For P1, 0 output. Therefore, market supply curve also below P1, because we are taking the same price level horizontally to the market supply curve also. Therefore, here P1 level. For P1 level, what is happening? The price level, the supply is 0. Then for the P2 you can see, for the P2, this firm 1 will produce at P2, because firm 1 produce output above P1 level price. Therefore, above P1, here is output produced by firm 1. But here, above P2, above P1 also for firm 2 produces 0, because above P1 but below P2. Firm 2 is not going to produce below P2. Therefore, again it is 0. Therefore, if we take the level of P2 to the, here it is P2 level here. We can write P2 level corresponding here P1 level for market. P1 you can see 0 output. P2, this supply curve coincides with this supply curve of firm 1. Because this is 0. This is 0 plus this amount. Above P1, below P2, only firm 1 produces. Above P1, below P2, only firm 1 produces, not firm 2 produces, because firm 2, if at all producing, will produce above P2 only. Therefore, this part coincides with the market supply curve. This is the part below P2, above P1. Now, if we take a P3, you see, horizontally, we will take horizontally this line from firm 1, firm 2. This is the P3 level. We'll horizontally at both the supply curve, we will derive. What we are doing? We are adding horizontally. This one 0, this one 0, here 0. This one, this much is there, this one 0. Therefore, this much is coming for the supply curve, market supply curve. Now, take a P3. Above P2, what will happen above P2? Both the firms will produce positive supply. Why? Firm 1 starts from above P1 only. At P2 price, supply curve of firm 2 also will be positive. Here above at P2 level, this firm also starting producing positive output. Now, just we will mention a point Q3 at the positive supply level. P3, you can see at P3 it produce Q3 level of output. Q3 level of output. At P3, firm 2 produces Q4 level of output. Therefore, the same P3 you take, it will produce Q5 level of output. But you can say Q5 is equal to Q3 plus Q4. This is called as summation of supply. That is Q5, market supply Q5 is equal to Q3 level at P3 of firm 1 and Q4 of firm 2 at P3 price. Therefore, you at P3 Q3 for firm 1, at P3 Q4 for firm 2. Therefore, at P3 for the market it is Q5. Q5 is nothing but Q3 plus Q4 at price level for each respective firms, firm 1 and the firm 2. This is what it is called horizontal summation of individual firms to derive the market supply curve. I hope you understood clearly. That is horizontal means we are extending same level. Firm 1 also same level, firm 2 also same level, market also at same level. P1 means here also we compare P1. P2 means we also compare P2. And I hope you understood. Between below P1, both the firms 0, therefore market also 0. Above P1, below P2, only firm 1 is producing, therefore market also only that component is there. Above P1, below P2, this coincides with the firm 1 supply. Because below P2, firm 2 also is not producing. Therefore, it coincides with this segment. This segment we are moving with the same segment. And above P2, you can see above P2, both the firms have positive supply. That is what we determined the price P3 and we wanted to measure. At P3 level, firm 1 Q3, at P3, firm 2 Q4, at the same P3, that is called horizontal summation. You have to compare the supply at same price level. Therefore, at P3, it will supply Q5. Therefore, we can prove it. Q5 is nothing but Q3 plus Q4. Now, one thing you can observe in this diagram. You can see here S1 supply curve, S2 supply curve. You can see SM moved toward rightward, shifted. You know the slope become flatter. More rightward. Why? The addition of these two, because it is Q3 plus Q4. If you add more and more firm, here we have, for example, we have taken only 2 firms. If you add more and more firms, what will happen? This will come more and more flat. Like this it will come. It will go this way. It will go this way, moving. What will happen when they move? What will happen to the output? Output level is going to Q6, Q7, Q6, Q7, Q8, Q9. It is going to increase output level. Therefore, that our curve will move like down, just move rightward. That is, supply curve will shift rightward when number of firms increase. When number of firms increase, our firm will move rightward. When it move rightward like this, what will happen to supply? At the same price, what will happen? Supply will increase. Q5, it will be Q10. Q10 is greater than Q5. I hope you understood. Now, market supply curve SM. Therefore, SM denotes the market supply curve. We have derived geometrically market supply by horizontal summation of individual firms. Therefore, market supply curve, which is obtained by taking horizontal summation. What is that horizontal summation? P1 of firm 1 is taken to P2 and then added with the supply curve horizontally. Supply curve 2 curve. Market supply curve is denoted by SM, that you are clear with it. And then when the market supply is strictly below B1, I have already explained, both firms choose not to produce any amount. Therefore, market supply will also be 0. We have seen that one. And also at the price level, below price level P1, market supply also 0 because no firms produces. Therefore, in this range, the market supply curve coincides with the supply curve of firm 1. And I have explained it. For the market price greater than or equal to P2, both the firms will produce positive level of output because you know we have explained. For example, consider the situation where in the market price assumes value P3, that is in the range of greater than P2. Therefore, positive level of output. P3 is in the positive output level range. I have explained to you. You see P3. P3 is in the positive above P2. Above P2 for both the firms. You see above P2, here is also positive output, here is also positive output. Therefore, for the market also, above P2, positive output. What price we are taking? In the range of positive output, we are determining just a price P3 to show that Q3 plus Q4 will be equal to Q5. And now, at market price P3, firm 1 supplies Q3 units, we have seen that, and while firm 2 supplies Q4 units, therefore, the market supply at price P3 is Q5. What is Q5? Q5 is equal to Q3 output produced by firm 1 at P3 price plus Q4 level of output produced by firm 2 at the same P3 price level is equal to Q1. I hope you understood the derivation, geometrical derivation of market supply curve from the firms. Now, market supply curve SM derived by horizontal summation, we have seen that what we are doing, we can also say S1 plus S2 is equal to SM. SM is equal to S1 plus S2. We can also say like that. Therefore, if the number of firms in the market increases, the market supply curve shifts rightward. If the number of firms decreases, it contracts, supply contraction. If you increase the number of firms, supply expansion. That is what, when more and more firms enter into the market, what happened? Supply increase. That is what, when there is more competition, more firms are involved in the function operation of operating on producing a same commodity. What happens? Because of competition, price level goes down. Therefore, if the number of firms in the market increases, the market supply curve shifts to the right. If it is decreases, shift to the left. You understood? I hope you understood this or not. Now, it's not in your textbook, but I wanted to explain these things clearly. I put an example with a numerical, without putting P1, P2. This is exactly numerical example with the numbers, actual numbers. I am going to explain the market schedule. It's an extra explanation for you to understand. Market supply schedule. What is supply schedule? It's a table. You can see the price of good X, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 15 rupees, 20 rupees. This is price column. This is firm A. Here is a separate example. It's an additional example I am giving you. The 5 rupees, firm A supply also 0, firm B supply also 0. Therefore, market supply, this is market supply at the corresponding price 5 level also 0. And now, at 10 rupees, firm A supplies 10 units, firm B supplies particular commodity QX, we say banana, and for 5 units, therefore market supply 10 plus 5, 15. And also 15 price, this one firm A 20 units, firm B 30 units, therefore what is market supply? Both at the same price, you see, at the same 15 price, you are adding 20 plus 10, what you are getting? Market supply 30. And 20, this step of example is in your textbook, but the table is not given. Therefore, 20 rupees, the firm A 30 units, firm B 20 units, therefore 30 plus 20, 50 units. And then, this is the supply curve with a numerical example. Because we have already seen below P1, below P2, like that we have seen. But I have given actual numbers for you to explain this actually. Here, at the price 5, this 0 output firm A, and at the price 5, for firm B 0, therefore market also at the price 5 it's 0. And then if you take 10, price rupees 10 for supply market firm A, what is the price 10, what is the supply? 10 units here, 10 units. At the same 10 price, market firm B, what is the supply? 55 units. Therefore 10 plus 5, 15. Therefore take the 10, that is called horizontal summation with the numerical number. If the 10 you take, what you are getting? 10 plus 5, 15. This is 15. This is 15. Between 10 and 20, 15. Therefore, here you are getting 10 units. And here at the same price you are getting 5 units. Therefore, here you are getting 15 units market supply. Why 15? 10 plus 5 at the price of 10 rupees. And if you take the 15 one, you can say at the 15 price, this is 20. At the 15 price, here it is 10. Therefore, 20 plus 10, at the 15 horizontal you add, you will get 30. 30. That means Firm A produced 20 at the rupees 15. Firm B corresponding, expanding and connecting to x-axis 10. Therefore, both the firm 20 plus 10, 30. And then again if you can see here, it produces at what price here? 20. Price rupees 20. More price, more quantity. Here 30. At here, at the same 20, it is produced here 20. Therefore, 30 plus 20 is how much? Here it is 50. At the same 20 price. I hope you understood. Therefore, this is quantity of X by firm A. This is quantity of X by firm B. This is quantity of market. This is market. Market. This is firm B. Firm B. This is firm A. Firm B plus firm A is equal to market. I hope you all understood this clearly. Now, we are going to the next topic, price elasticity of supply. What is price elasticity of supply? Price elasticity of supply means it measures how much the responsiveness of quantity supply for the change of the prices of that particular commodity. The measurement, that is called price elasticity of supply. Price elasticity of supply is nothing but is a measurement of responsiveness of the quantity supply for the change of its price of that commodity. Therefore, the price elasticity is a measurement. It measures how, when the price changes, the quantity supply of the commodity, how it changes. Therefore, firm can determine when we change price, what will happen to the supply, what will happen to the consumption of the consumers. Therefore, it's a very important concept in terms of economy, because the price changes have a very, very important impact on the quantity changes. That responsiveness of quantity changes for the respective price changes is measured by price elasticity of supply. Therefore, price elasticity of supply of a good measures the responsiveness of quantity supplied to changes in the price of the good. You will understand when we more discuss into this topic. Now, the price elasticity of supply is denoted by ES. Sometimes price elasticity of supply is also just, they will say elasticity of supply. Is actually because we are measuring the price changes with the supply changes, therefore it is called as price elasticity of supply. Here it is measured by this equation. This is the equation. This is the equation. This is called formula. This is called formula. This equation is called formula. This is called equation. What is the equation? ES is equal to percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price. It's a ratio. What is price elasticity of supply? That is the definition. This you form it as a definition also. What is definition? The price elasticity of supply is a ratio of percentage change in quantity supplied to percentage change in price. Is called as price elasticity of supply. Actually, it measures when price changes, for a unit price change, how much the quantity changes. A change in prices, how much impact on the quantity supplied. That is what is a price elasticity of supply. Therefore, what is the formula? Percentage change in quantity supplied. How can you find out? This is Q. Delta Q divided by Q into 100 will give you percentage change in quantity supply. We have seen already. You have seen percentage change in quantity supply, Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1. This is called delta Q by Q. That is, before the price changes, initial quantity Q1, after the price changes, the new quantity Q2, therefore change in quantity Q2 minus Q1. Why we didn't expand this equation? The same concept under price elasticity of demand we have discussed in detail. The same way we have to calculate this delta Q by Q is Q2 minus Q1 by Q. Therefore, If you have in percentage, what you will do? Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1 into 100. You will multiply by 100, you will find out the percentage. Therefore, delta Q indicates here Q2 minus Q1. Therefore, delta Q divided by Q into 100 over delta P into, that is, this is what? This component is nothing but percentage change in price. This component is percentage change in quantity. Therefore, percentage change in quantity divided by percentage change in price. What do you mean by percentage change in price? P2 minus P1 divided by P1. This is the delta P. This is delta P divided by P. The delta P means P2 minus P1 divided by P1 into 100. Therefore, what you will do? If you take it, you see delta Q over Q, this P will go up, that Q will come, delta P will come down. This 100 and this 100 will cancelled. Therefore, delta Q over Q into delta P, this P will go up because we are dividing, no? When we divide, this part will go up. Therefore, this is the formula for price elasticity of demand. This is called formula. I hope you have understood clearly, and this one, if you want further explanation, please refer the elasticity of demand equation. How did you delta Q mean Q2 minus Q1, delta P mean P2 minus P1 over P1. Now, where delta Q is the change in quantity of the goods supplied to the market as market price changes, delta P. We are going to explain that formula, that equation with the help of this example. There will be so more clarity for you about the price elasticity of supply. Here we will say an example. We say cricket balls are produced by some firms. We'll just assume, suppose these firms are under perfect market competitive structure. We'll assume like that, and then we will say when the market price of a cricket ball is 10 rupees, firms are producing totally in aggregate, but how many firms we don't know, how many firms are there in the market, they will produce together only 200 cricket balls. Suppose the price of the cricket ball is increased to 10 rupees to 30 rupees, you know what will happen? When price increase, supply will increase. Therefore, what will happen? Now, all the firms in the market collectively or in aggregate, we can say in other words, collectively or in aggregate, they produce 1000 cricket balls. Aggregate by the firms, 1000 cricket. Now you measure the elasticity of supply for this firm. What is the elasticity of supply for the firm? How do you do? We have seen in the price elasticity of demand also. You have to put a table for this data. What is the data is given here? Data initial price is 10 rupees given, P1 is given. Another data initial quantity Q1 is given 200. And another price is hiked, increased to 30, therefore P2 is given. And another data, when P2 is 30, what is the Q2? 1000 is given. Therefore you form a table for this data. This is the table. Price of cricket balls, one column. Quantity of cricket balls produced and sold, another column. You can see this is the way you have to write, this is the form of writing for your examination point of view. Old price P1 10 rupees, the corresponding quantity for that price, old quantity Q1 200. When the less price, supply is less. More price, supply is more. That is the law of supply. Therefore, new price P2 is 30. Therefore, new quantity is 1000. Now what do you have to do? You know what is our equation? The percentage change in quantity divided by percentage change in price. How do you will find out percentage change in quantity? Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1 into 100 will give you percentage change in quantity. P2 minus P1 divided by P1 into 100 will give you percentage change in price. Therefore, percentage change in quantity supplied is equal to Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1 into 100. That is delta Q over Q. 1000 minus 200 divided by 100. Q2 is 1000, Q1 is 100, divided by Q1 into 100, it will come. This is a magnitude 400. Percentage change in market price, 30 minus 10 divided by 30 is the P2, 10 is P1 divided by 10 into 100, you will get 200. This is the magnitude of the percentage change. This is the magnitude of percentage change in quantity supply. Delta Q over Q into 100. This is delta P over P into 100 we have found. What do you do? Substitute in your formula. What is your formula? Delta Q over Q divided by delta P over P. 400 over 200, what is that? Percentage change in quantity supplied over percentage change in price. Therefore, percentage change in quantity supplied, you have found out the value was 400. Percentage change in price, you have found out 200. Therefore, what you are deriving now, answer 2. Therefore, elasticity of supply for these cricket balls is 2. We will study the degree of this magnitude and all again. But we can explain, therefore, price elasticity of supply ES is 2, that is ES greater than 1. ES greater than 1 means it is highly elastic. Why? When this ratio become 1, more than 1, when this is a mathematical concept, when the percentage change in quantity is greater than percentage change in price only, this ratio will become greater than 1. In other way around, if the percentage change in supply is less, this denominator percentage change in price is more, then it will become less than 1. If it is greater than 1, you can say mathematically that the upper portion, that the upper variable, that is percentage change in quantity supplied, is more than the percentage change in price. Therefore, for instance, I will explain you here. Here, it is 100, this one is 100, this is 50. That is, percentage change in quantity supplied is 100, percentage change in price is 50. What you will get? ES 2. In the other way around, if percentage change in quantity is 50, 2 is what? 2 is what? Greater than ES, greater than 1. Now we will say the other way around. That one is percentage change in 50. This one percentage change is 100% price change. What you will do? 0.5. What you are getting now? ES is equal to less than 1. That is what you have to understand. When you get ES 2 greater than 1, you should say, you have to interpret your answer. How do you will interpret your answer? You will interpret your answer, in this case, the responsiveness of quantity supply is greater for the change in prices. Just the price increased from 10 rupees to 30 rupees. Only matter of 20 rupees increased. But see the effect on the quantity supplied. Quantity supplied increased from 200 to 1000. How much? By 800. Therefore, you can say this is highly elastic. Why highly elastic? Because the response to the price changes is very high. That is what it, percentage change in quantity is greater than percentage change in price. That is what it is positive as well as greater than 1. Here you can see percentage change in supply is more than percentage change in price. Supply is said to be highly elastic. We will see highly elastic. Why highly elastic? ES greater than 1, that is ES is equal to, in this example, 2. Therefore, always elasticity of supply and the elasticity of demand, whenever you find the answer, the magnitude and the sign, both you have to interpret. Then only the answer is complete. Here, what is the sign we are getting? Positive sign. Positive sign mean when you increase the price, supply also increases. And also the other point you have to observe, it is greater than 1. Why it is greater than 1? This ratio will be greater than 1 only when the percentage change in quantity supply is greater than percentage change in price. If this one is less and this one is more, it will be less than 1, as per I have explained, it will be 0.5. Instead of 100 divided by 50, if you divide 50 by 100, you will get 0.5. That indicates what? If it is less than what, it indicates percentage change in quantity is less than percentage change in price. If it is greater than 1, it explains you percentage change in quantity supplied is greater than percentage change in price. That means even a smaller change in price, quantity supplied will be greater. That means what is that nature is called. But when the small change in price, elastic, expand your supply more, it is called highly elastic. The term elastic implies what? It implies what? A smaller change in price, expand your supply more. That time your supply will be greater than 1. Then if you will say that commodity is said to be highly elastic. Why? It's greater than 1. If it is less than 1, your price increase, the supply is not increased more, it is just less elastic, not expanded more. I hope it is clear for you now. Like the price elasticity of demand, the price elasticity of supply is also independent. There are here no units for price elasticity of supply also. And the next one, the positive sign reflects the fact that higher prices will act as an incentive to supply more. We know that when there's more and more prices of a particular commodity, it is a signal for the producers. We studied under price mechanism. What is price mechanism? The increase in prices act as a signal and also act as an incentive to producers more and more. When the very highly elastic mean, producers knows a small change also increases supply more, therefore they will produce more and more. The production of more and more is called highly insensitive. Because E is greater than 1 and supply is highly elastic and the firm is responsive to changes in prices. When they are responsive mean they will produce more. This will give it a competitive advantage over its rivals. Over its rivals mean here, because it's a perfect competitive market, there are a large number of firms are there. Each firm, competitors referred to as rivals. Rivals mean other firms. They are competing each other with other firm. Therefore, a competitive advantage mean if a firm can produce a high quality product with the least cost, then that firm can compete better with the other firm, because that quality and the cost is less, the profit margin for that firm will be high. Therefore, competitive advantage over its rivals mean with the profit margin, high quality, least cost product they can produce, because many firms are in the perfect competitive market. The next one, perfectly inelastic supply. We are going to discuss now perfectly inelastic supply. What do you mean by that? Just now we have said highly elastic and like that. Now we are going to degree of elasticity. There are type of elasticity. Even though in your textbook it's not mentioned the types of elasticities, because unless I mention here this type, this subject is not complete. Price elasticity of supply, you should know the differences, how elasticity changes, the type of elasticity. Here the perfectly inelastic supply mean here ES is equal to 0. Price elasticity of supply is equal to 0. In our calculation, in our problem we have seen ES became 2. Then we said it's a highly elastic, that supply. Its response for the price is more. Therefore, here perfectly inelastic mean the supply curve is vertical. Supply curve is, in the last year exam or before last year we got a MCQ question. When vertical line, supply curve is vertical, what is the value of the elasticity of supply? Is 0. Or when ES is 0, what is the shape of a supply curve? Supply curve is vertical. Why? Any price may be 40, 80, 106, but what is happening? Regardless of any price, this one is insensitive. Supply curve is insensitive. It doesn't change with the price. Whether 40 also same amount of output supplied, the 80 also same amount of supply, the 106 price also same amount of supply. Therefore, no response in supply for the change in prices. Then no response for the price mean it's called inelastic. It's very rigid. Rigid means stand in erect at a vertical position without any change in supply. It is called inelastic. No response mean inelastic. Highly changing mean it is called elastic. Therefore, this is inelastic. Therefore, it is ES0. Why ES0? We know, we have seen our ES is what? Percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price. What is percentage change in quantity here? What is the percentage change when a vertical supply curve? 0 divided by price changes. 0 divided by price changes is what? 0. Therefore, ES is 0. ES nothing but percentage change in quantity price over percentage change in price. Quantity over price. Quantity is here at vertically we say Q3. It will be Q3 only. For all the level of price, it will be Q3 only. No change. Therefore, what is the change of percentage change in quantity? 0. 0 divided by price change is again 0. Therefore, ES is 0. I hope you understood this concept. Therefore, when the supply curve is vertical, supply is completely insensitive to price and the elasticity supply is 0. Next one, inelastic supply. Inelastic supply means that is perfectly inelastic. perfectly inelastic mean ES is 0. This also inelastic but not perfectly. Here it will be little bit vertical, not so flatter, not perfectly vertical, but in between. It's like this. Therefore, it's called inelastic, not perfectly inelastic. Perfectly mean it will be vertical like a price axis. Therefore, ES less than 1. Here, what you can say, what you observe from this diagram, you can observe here P1 to P2 is much difference. Q1 to Q2 less difference. What do you mean by that? When price increase by a greater amount, quantity increase only by lesser amount. Only this much of quantity changes. Quantity only change this much, but price changes this much. Therefore, what you can say, percentage change in quantity is less, percentage in price is more. What you will get? When the I can say ES, percentage change in quantity only 50%, and just as an example, percentage change in price is 100%. Therefore, what is your ratio? 0.2. That is 0.2 is what? ES less than 1. ES less than 1. I hope you understood. How did you derive? Why? This only 50%, this change 100%. Therefore, what is the definition for ES1, ES less than 1? Percentage change in quantity supply is less than the percentage change in price. Then that commodity is said to be inelastic. And for that commodity, ES will be less 1. This is for essential items, necessities. For example, we can say water bottle we are buying. Even though price increase, we have to buy water because water is an essential item. Water is a necessities. We can say necessities or essential items. Even though price changes for the necessities, gasoline, petrol, diesel and food items, those items, the price increase also people will buy the particular amount of commodity. Therefore, it won't have much impact on quantity when the prices are changes. Therefore, it is called inelastic. Essential items, medicines and food items, water, gasoline, all these things will not be so sensitive for the price changes. Therefore, when price can change more but quantity will not drop or quantity will not increase much. I hope you understood. ES less than 1. Change in price is more, change in quantity is less. Therefore, the ratio is less than 1. The next one, perfectly elastic supply curve. Here, elasticity of supply is infinite. Infinite, you know, infinite is how it is. Infinite. We'll write like this. ES is equal to infinite. Price elasticity of supply is infinite. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? For a particular price, infinite supply of quantity, infinitely. Even this price we can't see, even a small change we can even notice. You can see just even if we say 40 rupees price, same level you can buy 100 quantity of units or 400, even you can buy 1000 also. Therefore, it elastic, perfectly elastic, it goes like infinite. Therefore, the supply curve, this is the supply curve, is horizontal, is parallel to x-axis. Therefore, perfectly elastic mean this is the horizontal supply curve. Perfectly inelastic mean vertical supply. Inelastic mean vertical. Elastic mean price won't change, but opposite way quantity changes. Inelastic mean price changes, quantity won't change. Here quantity gone changing infinitely, but price stays at a particular point P. And also, if price decrease, this quantity supply becomes 0. So sensitive for the price changes. A little price falls, this supply becomes 0 also. Therefore, this is called as very sensitive for the price changes. That is what the name itself is mentioned as perfectly elastic supply. Perfectly elastic. Expansion also very infinite way it expands. Contraction also comes to the 0 level for a small fall in price. I hope you understood. This type of supply curve is very rare in the real world. It's an imaginary concept like that because cannot be like a commodity like this. The next one. Therefore, infinite elasticity supply is supply curve is a horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis as shown in the diagram. And when there is an infinite, I have explained to you, So at particular price, there is infinite supply, infinite supply. And at the same time, the supply becomes zero with a slight fall in, therefore, highly expand up to the infinite level and also highly contract to the zero level when there is a small fall in or small change, a negligible change in price is there. Therefore, this such a commodity is said to be perfectly elastic. The next one, elastic supply. It is not perfectly elastic, but less than perfectly elastic. Here, the supply curve, you can notice the supply curve so flatter, almost is closer to horizontal line, but not horizontal line, more flatter. How do you observe here? For a small change in price, see the commodity changes so much, this much change in commodity. Commodity is this much changing, but only price changes only this much. How can we write? When we write ES, you can write 100% change in what? Quantity and 50% change in prices. What you will get the answer? 2. That means what? ES greater than 1, highly elastic. If it is greater than 1, highly elastic. That's what it say. Elastic supply curve is greater. But we didn't mention highly elastic. In some books they will say highly elastic also. But we say elastic supply curve. Elastic means the elastic nature is there, highly elastic, but that ES greater than 1. That you, from this diagram you can say percentage change in quantity is more than the percentage change in price. You know our equation is percentage change in quantities divided by percentage change in price. Therefore, when the percentage change in quantity supplied is more than the percentage change in price for that commodity, it's said to be elastic supply. It is called elastic supply. So also you can say highly elastic, but not perfectly elastic. Perfectly elastic means it will go horizontal. And example, luxury items and non-necessities. You know that when the motorcycles or cars, very expensive high-end cars, little price down, people will buy that time that particular car. Why? It's very expensive, but when the price falls, when price changes slow, small, the quantity will be, but a little price increase for that car, they will completely drop without buying. Why? These are not essential items. We can postpone any electronic items, any luxury item, we can postpone because it's not like a food item or water or something. Therefore, they will wait for the price fall again. Therefore, when your price increase, they will wait for buying. When price decrease, they will buy more. Therefore, very sensitive to price changes. When there is a very more sensitiveness for the price changes, it is called as elasticity is more. Elastic is greater than 1. The next one. This one, unitary elastic. Unitary elastic in the sense, you know, the change in price and the change in quantity, same proportion. That means, you see, only this much only, we can say 50% change in prices and also quantity also 50% changes. Then we will say unit elastic or unitary elastic, it is 1. Why? ES is equal to percentage change in quantity also 50, percentage change in price also 50, therefore 1. This is the commodity. Therefore, both the percentage is same. Therefore, is equal to percentage change in price as shown in diagram. Now, we will see how to measure the elasticity on a straight line with this method, geometric method. It is called elasticity. This is not like a same as a percentage method. This is called geometric method, or we can say a point elasticity measuring method. On a point we are measuring the elasticity of supply. Here we can't measure the magnitude as ES2, ES0 like that. We can't measure the magnitude. Only we can say a straight line have a elasticity of supply greater than 1 compared to the other straight line, or less than 1 or 1. That type of comparison we can do of price elasticity of supply, not the exact magnitude we are going to measure. Here we are going to measure the price elasticity of supply on a straight line at a point. That is what it's called point elasticity also. Here, this is what I explained. Okay, you can see the next slide. You can see here, this is a straight line. It's a straight line supply curve. You can see the straight line have a point S. We are going to measure at this point what is the price elasticity of supply. To measure that point, you can expand this line up to x-axis, the horizontal axis. When you expand this supply curve up to horizontal axis, what is happening is this axis, this supply curve is cut at the price axis at a positive range. At this positive range of the price axis. This is down is negative range. Here this is called as positive range, it cuts. When you further expand it, it cuts the x-axis at point M. At point M. Therefore, how do we calculate this price elasticity of supply is ES is horizontal segment. This is called the point method, horizontal segment divided by quantity supplied. Quantity supplied. Horizontal segment mean when you expand that line, that supply line, where that line cuts the x-axis. Here it cuts beyond the origin, left side of the origin. Therefore, the horizontal segment become bigger one. That is MQ naught. MQ naught. And the quantity supplied only this much. That is OQ naught. Therefore, ES is given by MQ naught, that horizontal segment cut by supply curve at x-axis, that at M. It is beyond the origin. Therefore, this much of distance, and quantity supplied only this much of distance. But you can see MQ naught is greater than OQ naught. Therefore, ES greater than 1, because upper one is greater and the lower one is, therefore ES is greater than 1. Therefore, what we can say, it cuts the price axis at its positive range, and when we extend the straight line, it cuts x-axis at M, which at its negative range, because this side is a negative range. This is positive range, this is negative range. This price axis, this is positive range, down is negative range. X-axis, this is positive range, this is negative. Therefore, this line cut at the negative range. Therefore, it become more, this supplied is less, therefore greater than 1. Therefore, the price elasticity of this supply curve at point S given by the ratio MQ naught over OQ naught. What is MQ naught? Horizontal segment at the x-axis cut by that supply curve, and OQ naught quantity supplied. And MQ naught is greater than OQ naught. Therefore, elasticity at any point on such a supply curve, therefore, will be greater than 1. Therefore, a supply curve like this, at any point, to take any point, that ES will be on this supply curve at any point will be greater than 1. The next one we will see this curve. What is happening at this curve? Here supply curve cut the x-axis at the origin itself. Therefore, that M coincides with O. Therefore, if we take ES MQ naught divided by OQ naught, here it will be M is also coinciding with, here it cuts at the origin same place only, therefore OQ naught over OQ naught, therefore it is equal to 1. Therefore MS equal to, ES equal, elasticity of supply is equal to 1. That is unitary elastic. That means any point on the supply curve, any point, at S only we calculated now, at any point in the supply curve, elasticity of supply will be equal to 1. Because when you extend the supply straight line, that straight line goes through the origin. Therefore, OQ naught and that M, we say the cutting point also coincide with O. ES, in figure, the point M coincides with the origin. Therefore, MQ naught has become OQ naught. Therefore, the price elasticity of this supply curve at S is given by OQ naught divided by OQ naught. Therefore, it is equal to 1. Now, the last point, this here, price elasticity of supply is given by supply curve of a firm. You know, if you extend the supply curve of a firm, it cuts the x-axis at this point before origin. Therefore, now MQ naught is only this much, OQ naught is this much. Therefore, ES is equal to MQ naught divided by OQ naught. MQ naught, you know, smaller one, OQ naught is bigger one. Therefore, OQ naught is greater than MQ naught. Or MQ naught is less. What will you do? What will you get? Less than 1. Therefore, when a supply curve, when you extend, it cuts the x-axis with the positive range. Before it was cutting M here in the first one, negative range. Now it cuts at the positive range. Now the MQ naught is this much, OQ naught is that much. Therefore, MQ naught over OQ naught less than 1. Therefore, this is the method of point elasticity. It just says whether elasticity is greater than 1 or less than 1 or equal to 1, not the magnitude. Therefore, I have explained all that. Now, application of elasticities. What is the use of elasticities in the real world? Elasticities, calculation of elasticity indicates us that what is the response of that particular commodity for the changes of the prices. It's very important for a firm to know the elasticity of that commodity. Therefore, for a firm, it is very important to know the elasticity of a commodity. Therefore, in the world, when the price elasticity is very high, what is happening? Even a smaller drop in price will be so much of consumption of that particular commodity. At the same time, if a small rise in the price, drop in the commodity, the consumption will be so much down. Therefore, firm will suffer because there will be no demand. Therefore, that price elasticity of supply is directly connected with the consumer's demand. Therefore, depend on the sensitiveness of the commodity for the price changes, we can say how much demand will be there in the economy. For example, if it is a necessary items, even though price changes, not much change in quantity, but for luxury items, a small increase in price will bring the consumption demand very much down, drastically will drop. And a small decrease in price will increase the consumption demand very great amount. This is the application in the real world. And now there is an assignment. Please attend the assignment, which I have already explained, and that is addition of aggregate market supply finding from the table, and also there is a problem. Thank you so much for your patient listening. We will meet in the next class. Sai Ram to you all.